Hey guys, it's Paul Trimmer here from the Paul Trimmer Real Estate Agency, and today we're talking with a very well-known property manager based in the Romantic Zone about property management, rental management, and all the things you need to know about, the pros, the cons, all of that. Thank you for coming to chat with me about this.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah. So, Dash, you're from Lifestyle Properties. You've been looking after my clients, some of my clients for 5 years.
Yeah.
They've always said very positive things about Dash, his services and his good looks. So tell me, how did you come to be in PV and a bit about your agency?
Sure. Yeah. So I'm the general manager of Lifestyle Properties. I moved to Puerto Vallarta in January 2016, so coming up on my 10th year here. And I started this company because my family had a long history of owning property in Puerto Vallarta. My mom bought her first property here, I think it's 22 years ago.
Well,
And from the very beginning, she saw a lot of potential in the market here, and fell in love with Puerto Vallarta. But there was always this need for a higher level property management service. And so we always, kind of as a family with our properties here, struggled to find a property manager that was ethical and honest and reliable. And that was really what started the idea of myself moving down here to start that company myself.
nice, very cool. So say someone has just purchased a one-bedroom condo in Saleview, a typical beautiful building in the heart of the Romantic Zone. They've never rented before. What what does that look like for them? They've come to you, they want to rent it out. How does that work? What do you start with? How does it work?
Yeah, so first off, I'd like to get a good idea of everyone's goals. Why did you buy this property and what are you looking to get out of it? And kind of understand where they are in the spectrum of, all the way on one side, I bought this property for myself and I'm going to use it 100%, 90 to 100% of the time, or I bought this purely as an investment property and I want to rent it as much as possible. Try and first understand, where do they lie on that spectrum, and then, start to talk about, how we would approach this property and how we would attempt to reach their goals as their property managers, and start working out if we're going to be a good fit together or not. There's a lot of different property management companies in Puerto Vallarta, and actually a lot of really good ones now. That's the good news. When I started, there weren't as many good ones, but now there's a lot of good competitors out there, and with a lot of different styles or approaches. And so our approach at Lifestyle Properties is we're specifically focused on short-term vacation rentals at modern condominiums in the best neighborhoods in Puerto Vallarta. So like a property at Saleview would be perfect for us. And as long as the property owner wants to rent the property for at least 6 months or more, then we could probably be a good fit. And we'd start having conversations about how we would manage the property depending on how much revenue they're looking to get out of it.
Okay. And uh, do you split the services? So you got a property management service and then the rental side of things?
So we do both, and I do explain them as two separate lines of services. However, we've evolved now to only offer both of those services in combination.
Okay.
So we won't just do the management or just do the rentals, though there are other companies out there that will. We've just learned that our strength and the way that we can provide the most value to our clients is by doing both of those things. And so that's a really good solution for a property owner who pretty much wants that turnkey solution, that they can be away. They probably have their own career, they have their own responsibilities back in the US or Canada, wherever they may live, and they want someone to take care of everything and to have one sole responsible party. That's the model that we like the most. We feel that we can only provide the top level rental experience if we're also doing the management, because then we know that the cleaning is being done correctly, the repairs, the maintenance, the inventory management. Since we're managing all of that, we have really high confidence in how that's being done, and therefore can provide the best consistent, reliable rental experience for our guests.
Okay. And so someone signs up with you. What is the fees like? What is all the costs that people need to know about?
Yeah, so there's a fixed monthly property management fee and a rental commission. And that's pretty standard for the Puerto Vallarta market. So the fixed monthly property management fee can be as low as $199 a month up to around $399 a month, depending on the size of the property. So the studio and one bedrooms, they're towards the lower end, and two, three, four bedrooms are towards the higher end. And that's, like I said, that's typical for a property management company in Puerto Vallarta. Ours is a little bit different in that we include a little bit more in our fixed monthly fee, which namely cleaning services. So because cleaning is such a huge part of property management, for us, we really consider it to be our foundational core.
Mhm.
Most companies are going to be charging per visit. We like to include a once a week cleaning in our management services because we believe it's so important to have the property clean that we always want to have the property in a ready state
Right.
in case we get a last minute booking opportunity, in case the owner decides they want to come down last minute, we know the property is clean and ready to go.
Okay. Nice. Um, and so what I would say as well, so what's your commission rate?
20% commission
Yeah.
plus the fees of the platforms. And so
Okay.
that's an important one. There's actually some things changing in that environment, in that world right now. But typically the platform fees, and that's Airbnb host fee or VRBO host fee, Booking.com host
Yeah.
fee, that can range anywhere from about 3 to 15%.
Right.
And so that gets essentially passed on to the property owner
Right.
as well.
And that's like you said, it's always changing. What I will say is what I've noticed over the years I've been selling here, 20% is normal and
Yep.
good and worth it. I've had clients or heard through people that they've gone with a 12% or a 15% manager, and there's a lot more complaints, a lot more, you're less visibility, the cleaners drop the ball, things like that. Like I feel it's worth paying for a proper management company, because also most of my clients or most of you may be living in the US or Canada and your place is down here. You really want to feel that you can delegate it off to someone who knows what they're doing and not worrying about it. And I've noticed when people have gone with a cheaper property manager that may not be up to standard, there's more stress and worry. And I think when your property is in a different country, you don't want that. So um, that's just something to,
Yeah, and I would agree, and I've seen it too. And I think there's definitely ways for property owners to take on more responsibility themselves and then perhaps pay a property manager less. In most cases, it's going to come out better, in my opinion, too, if they
yeah,
pay the property manager. But if you're willing to be involved as a
yeah,
property owner and you're not afraid of being on your phone a lot, getting calls in the middle of the night, if you're okay with doing those things, staying up to date on the
yeah,
market pricing and such, you can do well and pay less, but you have to be willing to take on that responsibility and put in that work
right,
yourself.
right, yeah. It's choosing the strategy. There's different strategies of how you want to do it. Same with tax. That's probably a different video, but yeah, choosing the strategy. But if you really want to be hands off, pay for a good property manager.
Agreed.
One thing I give to my clients is when you're looking for a property manager, interview a couple,
Definitely.
because no, yeah, like you said, everyone has different goals, and sometimes it's they just want to earn a little bit of money and then enjoy their place the rest of the time, which
Hmm.
may not fit your property management company.
Yep.
So you want to, I think, interview at least 3 different people. And one of the things I say to look out for is the responsive rate from the person you're interviewing. How quickly are they coming back to you? For some reason, I've noticed there's a correlation between in this town. The faster that person is responding, whether it's a plumber or a real estate sales agent or a property manager, kind of matches the level of service you end up getting. So keep that in mind.
Yeah. Yes, that's definitely a good rule. And I tell clients to go interview a couple more people.
Yeah,
Even if they talk to me and they like us
yeah,
initially, I still think it's good that everyone talks to a few because ultimately I think of it as picking a partner.
right,
I mean, the property manager you choose because they're going to earn a commission on the business they do with you. They really are like a business partner, and you want to make sure that you find that best fit. And so what I tell our people that I talk to is that we're all about improving the lifestyles of those around us. And so that means we consider the well-being of our property owners, our vacation renter guests, and also our staff equally.
Yeah.
And we want what we do to equally benefit all three parties. And that resonates with some people, and if so, we're a good fit, but it doesn't resonate for everyone, and that's okay.
Now, what are the downside? What are the things people need to know? Because, like, when people buy their property, they rent it out for the first time. They haven't experienced this maybe back in the US. They haven't done this before. And I've certainly over the years noticed clients are kind of surprised at the wear and tear, for
Mm.
example.
Hmm.
It can be hard for them actually,
Yep.
having never rented their place out in their life, and then they come here, they then rent out their space. It's hard to go, oh my God, there's been 50 other people in this property since
Hmm.
I was last here. What are the things you notice? The wear and tear, uh,
Yeah, and a lot of it is about having the realistic expectations. So, the unfortunate reality is that guests don't treat the rental properties like their homes.
right,
So, that's like an important thing going in as a new property owner if you're going to rent your place to make, decisions about how you furnish your property so that it doesn't feel so delicate or fragile or this need to be perfect.
yeah,
Because the reality is there is going to be wear and tear. It can be controlled, it can be maintained, it can be managed by a good property manager, but things are going to break, things are going to get scuffed up. And so, you want to basically have that expectation from the start so that you make furnishing choices of things that are good quality, but I wouldn't say it's necessarily expensive.
right,
You don't want things that are cheap because they're going to break and you're going to have to replace them. You don't want things that are very expensive because they're going to get damaged
yeah,
and will need to be replaced as well. So you want to find that happy medium of things that are quality, they're durable, but they aren't going to cost a fortune if you do need to replace them. And then you want to make sure your property manager is, doing proper inspections and taking care of these things too, that they're, putting touch-up paint on the walls, that they are, cleaning the sofa, probably once or twice a year, that
yeah,
things are being done to keep the property in good shape and to manage that wear and tear so that it's not too too extreme
yeah,
to keep running the place as a rental.
yeah. Now, how do you feel? So one of the questions I want to ask is what's your thoughts on the future of PV for rentals, short-term rentals? One of the things I noticed during COVID, the demand was huge for rentals, I think because Mexico was easy to come to, we were very open during COVID. And then as soon as Europe opened back up, our summers dropped in numbers, right? And everyone went to Europe.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of people purchased their condos during COVID, thinking great rental demand,
Mm-hmm.
and then that's dropped off. How are you finding it now? What do you think about the future?
Definitely, yeah. What you said is true. So post-COVID, we had a really big boom in terms of property sales, new rental listings on the market, and occupancy. We had the best kind of summers or low seasons that we'd had because of other places being closed, because of people's ability to work remotely. And we've seen that sort of slow down over the past couple years. This low season that we're just getting out of was the lowest we'd had really since the peak of COVID, the
Yeah,
2020. Um, and I think there's, the main thing is, like you said, demand is going other places now that they're open. And also because of the great increase in listing supply
right.
that we saw because the market was so good, there was so much confidence in vacation rentals in Vallarta that I think there may have been a little bit of over purchasing,
Yeah,
over listing as rental listings. And we're not seeing the demand for renters grow much in the summer. I mean, there's been negative growth in the summers.
yeah.
Fortunately, I'm still very bullish on the market as a whole because we have such great rental demand increases for the high season.
Okay.
So even though we're coming off of another very low season, our high season is forecasting to be better than it was last year, and it was already really good, which shows me that there is enough demand growth in the high season
Yeah,
to support the growth in rental listings.
yeah,
Unfortunately, in the low season, right now, demand is not keeping up with the growth in supply. So until things change, I see more of the same, which would be really slow summers,
yeah.
but really great
Right.
winters.
Yeah,
And so until the rental listing supply growth slows down a little bit, or we have something that boosts demand in the low season,
yeah.
I think we're going to continue to see very slow summers and very busy winters.
Right. And the reality is, PV has a lot to offer, like the culture, the food, the international airport, the beaches, the hiking, the mountains, the ocean activities. I think there's always going to be a strong market here. Uh, so yeah, but I've noticed as well that summers have slowed down a lot.
Yeah, no, and I agree. There's always going to be a reason for people to come. And I think, these trends, they always, take a few years to correct. And
Mhm.
so I think we saw a little bit of overinvestment in
Yep,
rental listings. And now we're probably slowly correcting those
yep,
for the real demand that exists. And I think if you are an investor and you want to buy a property purely for investment, it might be a little more challenging to find the right opportunity in this market. But certainly, if you're someone who wants to have a place for your own enjoyment or for your friends and your family, and then you want to be able to have the property pay for itself and have some profit left over, there's still many opportunities for that.
yeah. I think that's the best way to purchase in PV. It's got to be a balance between you love PV and the lifestyle and what it offers you, and then the rental is a side income to cover expenses, a little bit of extra income. That's a nice combination. When people are solely investor focused, I feel like it's better to put your money in the S&P 500 or a rental around the corner from your home in the US, because then you can manage it more. Because that
Hmm.
brings me to, although the nightly rate may be $300 a night for your condo, you then have to pay the 20% commission to you guys, the Airbnb fees, the supplies, etc.,
HOAs.
the HOA fees, the property tax for yourself, which in
Mhm.
Mexico is not too bad, not expensive. But you've got those the bank trust fee for owning your property every year. So you've got all of that, a little bit of wear and tear, so getting things fixed. And then you've got tax to pay as well,
Hmm.
income tax. Now there's different strategies, people do different things for that. But when I feel like if I'm really grounded in looking at it, you almost give away half of your income.
Yep. If you look at the gross income and then see what people end up netting, it's
Yep.
around 50%.
Yeah.
So about 50% of the gross can be what you could expect
Yeah.
to put in your pocket.
And that's worth really listening to, because when people do the numbers, they don't use the 50%.
Hmm.
They I feel people, between Christmas and New Year and Thanksgiving, you might get 350 a night for your place. But that's not 350 a night every single night all year round,
No.
and then you're paying a little bit, 20% to there's a lot more fees in it. So you do, if the money at the end of the day from the rental income is important, that's when you really need to deep dive into the numbers so that you know
Yep.
what you're getting yourself into. I had two Airbnbs in New Zealand, and both of them, the reality was not what I anticipated. Now, it wasn't disastrous, but I did notice there was a lot more work involved, and the rental income was never quite what I predicted before I
Mm.
purchased. So it's worth doing your research. If for a lot of people, the numbers is not that important. They want a little bit of extra income from it, and it's not that big a deal. But if the numbers are important to cover your mortgage back in the US, then you want to do your research.
And if the numbers are really important, there are a few unit types, very specific, and some specific buildings that actually do perform really well,
Yeah.
even in this current market.
Okay.
Um, but it really is only a few unit types and a few buildings. If your clients are interested in that, I can obviously,
Let's talk about
yeah.
what you notice there. What is a unit that has the rental demand?
So it's studio units
Okay.
in great buildings, like great buildings. So obviously modern condominiums, great locations, wonderful rooftop amenities. Um, so buildings like Zenith, Loft, Pavilion, studios in those
Yeah.
buildings, in our experience, do extremely well all times of the year. And typically, studios kind of can shine in these situations because they have the smallest footprint, which typically means they're going to have the smallest maintenance costs
Right.
overall. They're going to have the lowest HOA fees. They're going to have the fewest amount of appliances to maintain or repair, the fewest amount of sheets and towels and
Right.
everything you can imagine is as low as possible, which means that you have a pricing competitive advantage versus all of your neighbors. So even compared to the 1 bedrooms and obviously the 2 and 3s, you're going to be able to price your property more competitively than all of your neighbors. And you're giving your clients still 2 out of the 3 most important things,
Right.
which is a great location, equal access to stunning common amenities like the pool, the gym, the hot tub. And the only thing is the unit itself is just a little bit smaller.
Right.
But typically the studios are still very well equipped. They have
Yeah.
kitchens, you know, they're going to have the seating area, dining area, and obviously a bed and full bathroom.
Yeah.
So you can compete very well against all of your neighbors, which means that you're probably still going to be able to book nights in the low season. To kind of help you tread water.
Yeah.
And then obviously you're going to do great in the high season like everyone does.
Right. Cool. Awesome. Now, do you recommend your clients get residency in RFC?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the best way to go. It's the way to, for one, to have the most reasonable tax basis. Secondly, it's a great way to communicate to or contribute to the local area, the local government. You're earning income in Mexico. You should be paying taxes on that income in Mexico, and having those tax dollars go to the locality in Mexico. And yeah, those would be the 2 reasons why to do it.
And you have to have an accountant here to file your taxes every month. So in Mexico, you do it every month.
Correct.
So that's
the setup. The setup takes work and takes time.
Yeah.
Once it's set up, it's much smoother going forward.
Yeah.
But certainly, like, again, setting expectations correctly, it's going to be a process. You will be confused at times. And it will take, you'll spend some time sitting around in some government offices.
Yeah.
But once you get it, you are pretty smooth rolling from there on out. And you'll be paying the lowest amount of tax possible and contributing to the local economy.
Right. And you can hire people to help you getting residency, getting your RFC, which is your tax ID. You can talk to an accountant here to get the best strategy on tax. Your real estate agent will help you with those sort of contacts. And that's why I say, like, if you're going to live here or you're going to enjoy PV and rent at the same time, you tend to, if you love PV, you don't mind doing those things we just talked about, getting your residency, RFC. If you've got no connection to PV and you're just doing it as a rental investment, then flying down to get your residency and all of those jobs become very tedious as well. It's all that extra stuff that is not as fun when that's your only focus is the rental income investment.
Agreed.
So thank you very much for
My
coming to
pleasure.
chat. People can go to your website to
you can go
contact
to
you.
lifestylepropertiespv.com to learn more about us or to check out some of the properties that we have for rent.
Yeah.
And no, thank you for having me. I think you're an excellent agent. I've seen you sell properties at really great deals in a market that hasn't been as hot as it used to be. So I know clearly you're really good at what you do, and every client I've worked with of yours has said great things about you.
Thank you. And I say that genuinely. You've got a handful of my clients now, and none of them have made one complaint about Dash. So that says a lot, I think, in Mexico. So thank you. Thank you. Any questions about what we've talked about, feel free to get in contact with me. Any property management, contact Dash directly. And just to remind you, I'm a real estate agent here in Puerto Vallarta. So any questions about purchasing, please get in contact with me. And also I have a newsletter that goes out every week with all the new listings, new developments, educational videos, kind of like this on that newsletter. So if you want to start researching the market, it's a great way to do it. You can go to my website and join up there with your newsletter, with your email address. And if you decide in the future it's not of value, you can unsubscribe anytime. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Cool.
That was all.